Welcome to Chatty Walks with Angela. I am Angela, and today we are rambling around London's Lincoln's Inn Field, past a bus. That's the Royal Courts of Justice. A little bit more of legal London, as started literally just down the road from here at the Inns of Court. Check out my Inns of Court walk if you're interested. Just there down Fleet Street. Have a look. It's not a bad walk, very pretty as well. Just in front of you it says the Old Bank of England, which is now a pub. And the Bank of England did indeed trade there until 1975. Now we're actually going to be heading through there, but a different way, because we don't do short walks around here. Oh no. As I said, we're on Fleet Street. This is Middle Temple Lane. Do check out the Inns of Court walk. This is kind of Inns of Court Part 2 that we're doing today. Here you are, Middle Temple Lane. You can see ahead of us, in the middle of the road, this elaborate pedestal in a neo-Renaissance style. And that serves as the base for a sculpture of the Griffin, which is the heraldic crest of the Corporation of the City of London. And by passing this, we pass out of the financial City of London and into Westminster. So one side we're in economic city, other side here we are now in Westminster. We just passed into Westminster. And once upon a time the Temple Bar stood here. And if you go to Paternoster Square at St Paul's, the old Temple Bar is there. Okay, enough of hanging around Fleet Street. We've just crossed to the Strand as well. And I keep going past a tour party who have much better information than I do, believe me. So this is the Royal Courts of Justice. You probably recognise it. Sometimes you see court cases being covered from outside of here. Built in the 19th century, close to the Inns of Court, and we'll get on to the Inns of Court and what that means later. They weren't necessarily pub inns, so to speak, more hostels for trainee solicitors and barristers. These 60 odd courts deal with mostly civil cases, while the criminal trials go to the Old Bailey. So let's cross Westminster, in Westminster now, not in the City of London, over in that direction. Let's see if we can cross. Yep, the Hackney Wick bus is letting us cross. Ah, look, isn't that pretty? 1899. Now if I were a good historian I would know the meaning of this. St Martin in the Fields. Now if you've watched my walks around Trafalgar Square, or if you just know these things, you will know that St Martin's in the Fields Church is at Trafalgar Square, and actually I go and eat there from time to time. Looking over there, I don't know if you can see Twinings, so I recorded a quick video inside of the Twinings shop, you very kindly let me film, and that is the technically believed to be the oldest shop in Westminster. And as I said in the last video, the George pub I know absolutely nothing about. Here we are, Royal Courts of Justice, with its coat of arms. Looking over there, we can see a statue to Dr. Johnson. Who was Samuel Johnson? An English writer who is considered one of our biggest literary contributors as a poet, playwright, essayist, moralist, critic, biographer, editor and lexicographer. Just going to show you that lovely old style lamp there. Some people believe that he's arguably the most distinguished man of letters in English history. seem to have a lasting effect on literary criticism, even claimed to be the only great critic of English literature. Yeah, it's all happening round here.
Yeah, you like it.
Here we have another of the City of Westminster flats, 1928. Oh, should I do an upward shot? Here we go. Up, up, up. Whee! It's a hot day today, clear blue skies. I'm here with dedicated helper today. Say hello.
Hello.
And he's already telling me it's very, very hot.
It really is.
Yeah, it really is. We are looking towards Clements Inn. Clements Inn, I hear you say. Never heard of that one before. Well, it did close several hundred years ago. Here's this one of the old 8, approximately, inns of Chancery. And we'll get onto the inns of Chancery, inns of court, that sort of thing, shortly. It could educate budding lawyers, but they could not qualify here as students to practice at the bar. So this one died out. It was demolished in 1891 after 400 years in existence. Now, if I didn't know I was allowed through here, I'd be scared. Because I'm quite shy and don't really like to barge through places I'm not supposed to be. But this is an entrance through to the LSE, London School of Economics, at Clements Inn. This is the Clements Inn area. Let's have a look through here. Nothing coming? No. The Illustrated London News in 1857 described Clements Inn as having 6 members who were allowed only a half pint of wine on grand days. The neighbouring Lions Inn, because there were loads of inns, was in a worse state with only 2 members and no students for 20 years. They described Clements Inn as a body without functional members, and that's from the LSE website. So the London School of Economics dedicated some time to the inns. As we get amongst from the old buildings here to the modern new ones of the London School of Economics here. We've got some fascinating sort of window displays and things around here. There it says Pethick Lawrence House, if you know anyone at the LSE going there. And we've got these chaps and chapesses, they all chapesses here. Not sure what they are. Sorry. I'm going to walk through here. Massive, great big aircon splurging out at us from an underground area here. I really like walking around here. Votes for women. Suffragette movement covered there. Courage calls to courage everywhere. Millicent Garrett Fawcett. And if you can, it's all the way along here, I'll just show you. So that's a massive, great big vent, basically. I wonder if it's for heating in the winter, or if it's just releasing air from aircon in the summer. Pankhurst House. It's along here. LSE Shape the World, understanding the causes of things since 1895, which is kind of a good heart of science. What causes anything? Up some steps with them there, creaky knees of mine. We're going to enter now Clare Market, sort of central point of the London School of Economics. Here we are. We've got coffee shops sitting around spots here. Public lectures and events posters. And there we are. I don't know if that's the main entrance there. As I said, we're entering Clare Market now. If you head west of here, go in that direction if you want to, or along the Strand, you'll sort of find yourself at Covent Garden, Theatreland, the Eldwich, places like that. As I said, Clare Market, which I very remiss didn't actually look up a history of Clare Market. Sorry about that. As you know, these aren't pure history tours. They are nosing around tours, just as much as history, if not more. I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you for those I've been hearing from in comments. It's nice to hear from you all. Some of you worry if you haven't commented for a while or turned up for a while. Don't worry, you have lives. You have lives. Don't expect you. Peacock Theatre, as I said, we are right on the edge of Theatreland here, looking towards that area. This is Portugal Street, and there is St Clements Lane. Go on, somebody do the nursery rhyme. It's not going to be me. Bells of St Clements and all that sort of thing. I'm not doing it. Oranges and lemons. There you go. End. So St Clements Lane there as well. Continuing in that direction. I actually don't know if I'm going the right way at the moment. Let's keep walking, shall we? This is Portugal Street. I'm going somewhere in particular. There's a pub called George IV. There it is. This is where we were trying to get to. So here's a pub anyway. We are on Portsmouth Street. And why am I interested in the George IV pub on Portsmouth Street? I'm not that interested in it actually. I'm actually interested in this building ahead. That one that's got ladders, scaffolding. And why am I interested in that? Because that people, let's just have a nose at this LSE general store. Oh, we got some, see, one of the old chambers, Lincoln Chambers. There we are. So we got some cool clothes here for the studenty types. We got books. All sorts of books. Just very excited about the old curiosity shop anyway. More books. More books. And more t-shirts. So LSE General Store. And it is right opposite the old curiosity shop, which is covered in plastic scaffolding, ladders. Now, a bit of disagreement about this. As it says on their sign here, the old curiosity shop is believed to be the oldest shop in London. It was built in 1567 and survived the Great Fire of London in 1666. We were slightly beyond its western extent here. There's a picture of it as well. Better to see that than the scaffolding. It is a Grade 2 listed to Markets Association. Note the wording, association, with Charles Dickens' famous work, The Old Curiosity Shop. LSE acquired the building in 2018 and it is now under restoration, delivering essential repairs and a new roof. So it's a little bit controversial, this one. It was near to, well, Charles Dickens was writing around here. It was near to the Insolvency Debtors Court, which features in the Pickwick papers and Little Dorrit. And it sits within the legal quarter of London, portrayed in Bleak House. I'll give you a panorama there. You can even glimpse Portsmouth Street, which is what we're on, from the chambers in Lincoln's Inn Fields that once belonged to John Forster, just up there, Dickens' friend and lawyer. But it has been pointed out, particularly by the Charles Dickens Museum, there is nothing in the book, The Old Curiosity Shop, published in 1840, nor in Dickens' correspondence, which suggests this was the original of Dickens' antique shop, and several other sites have actually been suggested. Dickens' novel concludes with the author stating that the titular shop had long been pulled down and a fine broad road was in its place. So, is that really the original old curiosity shop? We will never know. There is a view that it was probably very good marketing 200 years ago, or thereabouts. Haven't done my exact maths. There we are, reflected in there. And we are now arriving at Lincoln's Inn Fields, which was originally my sort of focus for this walk, but the whole area is so interesting, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do Inns of Court Part 2. And we're actually going to end the walk over there. But naturally, I'm not going straight over there. No. I'm going to be doing a bit of wandering around first. Here we are at Lincoln's Inn Fields. It is the largest, I think, public park in London. Let me scroll my notes a sec. I'm going to pass over to he who can hold the camera quite well. Just check my notes on that one.
Sure thing.
So in our ramble around Lincoln's Inn Fields, I find it is situated, hello doggy, in 11 acres. I find out it is situated in 11 acres in central London, minutes from High Holborn and the Strand, which is what it is. And the reason I like these walks is they are literally seconds or minutes away from places you have definitely heard of, but these might be places you haven't heard of, and I like that as a theme. It is, as I thought, the largest, I'm taking the camera back, public square in London. Now, we should be going in, but we're not, and there's a reason for that. I want to show you some of these buildings. No, Angela, don't do that. Don't show us buildings. Go in the park. It's a hot summer's day. Agreed. I have to scroll my notes again. Trying a PDF system with my notes now, because every time I was scrolling notes, it thought that I wanted to edit them, which was quite a nuisance. Right, we need some house numbers. There it is, 55 to 56. I haven't got any notes for 55 to 56. Lincoln's Inn Square. Fields Square.
Yeah.
Poke you through. We'll be going in there in a sec. Worry not. You can see oh god, they're charging around the tennis court. What's wrong with them? It's a plus 30, over 30 degrees. That's hot in London. We're not used to it. Why am I pointing at houses? There's a reason. So, numbers 59 to 60. So that's 57, 58 there. There's Queen's House just before, 55 and 56. For some reason, there's a great big marquee tent in front of the building of interest. So numbers 59 to 60, with these lovely sort of iron cradles for torches and lanterns, which were used prior to street lighting. Spencer Perceval once lived here, the only British Prime Minister to have been assassinated. So there you go, Spencer Perceval, if there's blue plaque, it's hidden behind the marquee. Don't worry, we'll go in the square, promise we'll go in the square. So that says Club Quarters Hotel at number 61. I wonder if it's a nice hotel. Don't know. Just walk a bit further. I did this walk before and it crashed horribly, so I have to keep checking my red lights flashing. Oh, that's the Royal College of Radiologists. There's a medical connection here because of this house that's coming up with the blue plaque. Number 65. Former home of William Marsden, founder of both the Royal Free Hospital and the Cancer Hospital, now the Royal Marsden Hospital. And then number 66, the offices of Farrer and Co, solicitors to the Queen. So it's all happening around here. Now we are going to have something of interest along this side as well. This is the north side of the square, but let's get into the actual trees and grass, or what's left of the grass. And yes, you can get a decent breakfast in here as well. It looks like quite a nice coffee shop. Here we are in the park. Brown, okay, brown and white grass now. That's all we got left. Proper drought conditions, hose pipe bans, and what have you. Particularly in the south and southeast of the UK. And as I said, today it's predicted to go to about 34 degrees. And by the weekend, 37. It's not quite hitting the 40 degrees that we got in the last heat wave a few weeks ago. But it's hot. And I'm sure you've been hearing, if anybody talks about it, in the UK, we're not very well set up for heat. So we stopped, did we not? Dedicated helper at the Royal Festival Hall.
Indeed,
which
we did.
Isn't the most air-conditioned spot on the planet, I should say. But we did have a drink, shared a croissant.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah. All the fountains are out now, aren't they? So the kids are charging around in and out the fountains.
Yeah.
Like what you used to.
I used to do that.
Yeah, you used to do that. Don't 22-year-olds hate it when the mum said, oh, when you were little you used to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, helicopter naturally overhead. We are going to turn in this direction. So you've had a good view of the park, I hope. It's just pre-lunchtime now, just coming up to 12. So people are starting to come out for their lunch. And here's a little information board. Number 56, William Murray, from 1740 lived. He was the first Earl of Mansfield, judge and politician. Then we got a Ramsay MacDonald, became Britain's first Labour Prime Minister. Lived here until 1916. And then we got Sir John Soane, numbers 12 to 14, which is what we're going to look at now, actually. I feel like I've been bitten. An itchy leg. All right, we are at Sir John Soane's Museum. Number 13 technically, although it's 12 to 14 now. The neoclassical architect Sir John Soane wanted his house full of historical and architectural curiosities and works of art to become a public museum after his death. They say it remains a time capsule. Some call it the most eccentric museum in London. He was the designer of many public buildings in his time. It's quite small, holds many drawings and models of Soane's projects and the collections of paintings, drawings and antiquities that he acquired, many as he might have just left them. And it's free to go inside. Let me know if you visited, put it in comments, give me your feedback. I put up the video that had the Wallace collection in it the other day. I think Chris and Sandra, you said it's excellent. And didn't you say you saw somebody from one of the experts from Bargain Hunt when you were at the Wallace collection? Around Marylebone. And now we are going to head somewhere else slightly. If you're interested in, there we are, just another peek in. Lincoln's Inn Fields actually takes its name from the adjacent Lincoln's Inn. And there's a private garden at Lincoln's Inn actually separated from the fields by a perimeter wall and a large gatehouse. Lincoln's Inn is actually celebrating its 600th birthday this year. We're heading back that way, okay, so we'll finish the walk round in that direction. This whole area, Lincoln's Inn Fields, was actually laid out in the 1630s. So the 1630s. And the original laying out and planting of the fields in this area were by Inigo Jones. You remember Inigo Jones, Covent Garden, Piazza, that type of thing. And the grounds were private property, but they were acquired by London County Council in 1895 and opened to the public. Now managed, it's interesting actually, this square, which we're walking along the northern side now, it's actually now managed by the London Borough of Camden and forms part of the southern boundary of Camden with the city of Westminster. All joins up, you see, all joins up. I never know what this is here. There's a public toilet there. I can see gentlemen's. Looks like an old one, you know. There's so many old public toilets still. Maybe I should do some videos. Old public toilets in London. I don't know. See, I'm not sure what this is. Somebody tell me. And there it says Lincoln's Inn Fields Hidden Gem. They do pizzas there. Don't know if they're any good, but I have seen that they do pizzas there. Okay, we are going to head now. So we're at the back of the walled garden of the official inn of Lincoln's Inn Field. As I said, we'll end up the other side of that as we complete this walk. Or we're going to go somewhere else first, trying to dodge cyclists, cars, things like that. Okay, Newman's Row, here we go. The exact origin, by the way, of Lincoln's Inn as a name have some theories around it. Was it named after Henry de Lacy, 3rd Earl of Lincoln, who died in 1311? Because the inns date back to about the 12th century, something like that. He owned property in the area, may have been a patron of the inn. There's also a possibility the name originates from Thomas de Lincoln, one of the sergeants of law during the 14th century, who may have founded a small inn at Castle Yard, which is a road that doesn't exist anymore. Let's head through here, where it looks a bit less lawyerly and inn-like, and a bit more modern. So we hit the High Holborn end of things. Now this is, yeah, they've got a sign up for it. I'll show it to you. You see it says Great Turnstile. Why would there be a turnstile here? Cows. To stop cows. Because cows used to roam around here. So as I said, we're looking in that direction towards High Holborn. But we're not going that way. We're going that way. You press a button and cross over here. This walk, by the way, is a mixture of a book for Walks of London and also the Fancy Free Walks website. Oh, and the Lincoln's Inn Field website as well. So those are the three main sources I used as we turn into Hand Court, which you will see London Borough of Camden on there. Let's see if we can get through here. If you're interested, what are we talking about? Because I did the Inns of Court, the sort of inner temple, middle temple with you last time, and we didn't really discuss the concept of what is an Inn of Court. So the Inns of Court and their associated Inns of Chancery evolved during the 12th and early 13th centuries, when the law, now so it's an interesting distinction that happened. So law was taught in the City of London primarily by the clergy. So it was a religious activity. By an ordinance of 1292, Edward I took the King's Courts out of the hands of the clergy, placed them under the control of the judges. As a direct result of this, law began to be practiced and taught by laymen instead of clerics. Oldish looking sign there. And so professionally trained lawyers began to emerge, aspiring lawyers headed to London to listen and hear from established practitioners. Got a pub there called the Old Nick. That's a funny sign. I like that. Easily amused I am. Bedford Row. Not, but is it Bedford Row or Bedford? No. Dukes of Bedford, they're everywhere, aren't they? Right, let's cross over. So, popular hangouts for the solicitorial crowd. You'll probably see some solicitorial types. That might count. So it's a bit like looking up Chiltern Street or something in Marylebone. Run across so I don't get run over. Sorry, car. So you get a lot of sort of solicitors' chambers and things like this. And it's a weird thing, as I look up this street, I almost feel Camden at its sort of more northern end. I don't know if I'm just imagining that, because I know that's where it ends up. Yeah, Bedford Row. Oh, I was right, it is Bedford Row. Suddenly had a crisis of confidence. I got that wrong. Brownlow Street. Now there's an old water pump here. Last time it was absolutely covered in building work. So that broken walk, couldn't really see the water pump. I'm going to see if I can look into the history of London water pumps. I don't know if there's a walk in that. Water Pumps of London. Here we are. Water pump. So lots of little flags on that. You know what those are. I'm not going to say it. And it obviously, you know, London, by the way, was a tough place to live. And I'm not saying it's any easier today. It probably is, comparatively speaking. Do have running water in most places. Yes, can you see the handle? I don't know if you can quite pick that up. That's the handle there at Bedford Row. Let's do a slow turn down Brownlow Street. But we are going somewhere else. I would have been too scared to go all by myself if I didn't know this was a walk. So thank you, as I said, fancy free walks and what have you. Jockey's Fields. Get out the way, guys. We've got to come through. Honestly, always has to be somewhere. Somebody somewhere. Right, let's come on through. No dogs. No dogs to be brought into the inn. People getting their lunches now. And here we are, so we're not allowed in here, it's a private one. Okay, just show you through there. So just to finish my explanation of the inns, to protect the new schools that had sprung up from competition, Henry II and Henry III issued... My phone's ringing. So returning to filming after my phone rang. Yes, to protect schools from competition, proclamations were issued prohibiting the teaching of civil law within the City of London. Schools were set up based in hostels or inns. And that's what we're talking about when we talk about the Inns of Court. Schools with hostels and inns, which later took their name from the landlord of the inn in question. And that's how they came about, basically. And we're going to go down this way. Ta-da! To Gray's Inn Square and South Square. The Inns of Chancery, because we're going to be heading towards Chancery Lane, sprung up around the inn at the same time as the Inns of Court and took their name and original purpose from the Chancery clerks, who used the buildings as hostels and offices where they would draft wills. Don't know if that's anything to do with our sort of split today between solicitors and that type of thing. As I said earlier, lots of lawyerly types are having their lunch now. Oh, we got some more griffin-like things up there. Gargoyle-y, griffin-y things. Gray's Inn. Open to adult members of the public from Monday to Friday between 12 noon and 2:30. Ooh, I'm going to pop my camera in that case. Dogs are not allowed. There you go. As I said, people out having their lunch. Oh, so we were allowed in, just not through that gate. So that's what they do, is make them, quite a few of the squares are open at lunch times. Work going on. Oh, we got some more creatures on tops of the gate. I don't know what they are. People who know stuff might know those things. Right, let's head off. Through here. You can hear the lunchtime crowd buzzing around. So we head towards Gray's Inn Square. So the first Gray's Inn is the first of the 4 Inns of Court, named after Reginald le Gray, Chief Justice of Chester, whose London house became the original Gray's Inn, anyway, after his death in 1308. So, you know, the sort of histories go back an enormous amount of time around here. We have to go this way. I always get confused at this point. And I think this is South Square. You'll see a note at the bottom of the screen. If it's not, oh, it says 10 South Square, and we've got some names of lawyers and things there. So South Square with a figure, there it is, Francis Bacon, one of the inn's most infamous members, who as Lord Chancellor in 1621 was convicted of taking bribes. He was fined £40,000 and imprisoned in the Tower of London. Story, huh? And we are now heading back towards High Holborn. Hope you're enjoying the walk. As I said, it's kind of Inns of Court Part 2. I hope this time I've given you a little bit of context of the inns. Gray's Inn, the Honourable Society of Gray's Inn, Porter's Lodge. Is this like the old one, the new one, a bit more modern? Maybe it's even got aircon, something like that. There's a sign coming up that I really like. I'm starting to get hungry. I promised the lad food as a bribe to come with me. The servants of the inn have orders to remove all hawkers, disorderly people, and those causing a nuisance. You're not allowed on a motorcycle, bike, or motor car unless you have business. Which presumably that black cab did. And the lad just pushed me out of the way. Right, this is Lady Hale Gate. We are now at the City of York pub. Beer brewed at Yorkshire's oldest brewery. Ooh, should we have a look at the price? House olives, $4.25. Mac and cheese bites with sriracha mayonnaise, $6.95. Bangers and mash, I love sausage and mash, £11.50. Hand battered fish and chips, $13.95. There's a few price checks at the pub. And we got a view ahead now of the City of London, looming up above us. And we're looking from Westminster to the financial city. And we are going to see another Griffin. So we're going to cross back from Westminster into the city and then back again anyway. Getting to the underground station here. If you don't eat fruit, you will end up like me. Nice one. I like that. 50p each for those nectarines or peaches. And I think we just missed the crossing. As I was showing you, fruit in a skeleton, why not? So we'll just wait here. As I said, there is the City of London in the distance. Just show you the griffins. So we're going to be looking at that building there. So this is an extremely old building, okay? And as I said, this sort of is the western extent of the Great Fire of London. Kind of just about burnt itself out. Let me stop here because I can see traffic. So the Staple Inn is one of the old inns of Chancery and one of the few timber-framed buildings to have survived, as I said, the Great Fire of London. Green Man, yes. This is Chancery Lane station here. I used to come into London here to work. I'll just give you a little close-up before we sort of head for the final quarter of the walk. And as I've said, sort of all the different inns of Chancery, inns of court, they sort of leave their little names behind. So this was the Staple Inn around here. Okay, a little closer up at the top with a tree. There you are, a nice bit of tree foliage. Right, let's head off along Staple Inn buildings. You can see, busy lunchtime. I'm going to cut through here. The sun is high in the sky. We're debating where to eat, aren't we? Young chap.
Yep.
So you are interested in going to Lyon, aren't you?
Indeed I am, yes.
I'm wondering to go with somewhere a bit more exciting. Might be nice, I'm unsure. Right, this is Staple Inn. Just in case you hadn't noticed, Staple Inn. And this is a private garden here. There's always somebody sitting there if I ever come past, as I get a branch in my face. If I ever come past, you see that there's always somebody sitting in there. And there's always building work as well. These spikes presumably are to stop people clambering around there or even eating their lunch. So people are out having their lunch. They seem to be literally digging up the pavements while they're at it. This is Black Sheep Coffee. I don't think you'd have that enjoyable a time right now, sitting outside. As we arrive at Southampton Buildings, we were just up there. And these are the London silver vaults. These were large safes, once used by a safe deposit company. Last time I came, they've closed the entrance on this side. It's now a subterranean arcade of silverware and jewellery shops. There you are, the London Silver Vaults entrance is now this way. Chancery Lane Safe Deposit Company. building work. Right, I'm going to peep you through here. We're actually going to go around the other side. So, let me just show you High Holborn in that direction. We can walk through here. We are going to come kind of from a different angle on this spot. I'm going to walk down Chancery Lane first. So something else I want to show you. Let's go down here. And I'm kind of acting as if I'm sending you back down to Fleet Street and the Strand, because all we've done is kind of a squarish, rectangularish detour from the Strand and Fleet Street around somewhere slightly different. Now, this sort of old legal land now has quite a mix of companies. That's a Harrier up there. And you get sort of media companies, other companies. I wish I could name other companies that are here. And they're opposite the historic Lincoln's Inn building, but there are still hints of the old sort of inn. So we've got Quality Courts here, if you can see that. And they're deciding their lunch. And you've got chambers, got foundry chambers there, architects. Lincoln's Inn Gatehouse. Why am I saying that? It's because I think that's where we are. And it's a bit of a job to find, because there's another building called sort of Lincoln's Inn Gatehouse. It's a modern building. Whereas this, I'm pretty sure from my research, is it. It is the oldest of 3 entrances to Lincoln's Inn Courts of Law, built between 1517 and 1521 by Sir Thomas Lovell, who got the contract in no small part because of his court connections. His father served as Chancellor to Henry VIII. So connections get you somewhere. It was constructed, this gatehouse, with bricks dug and made on the site, and one story is that playwright Ben Jonson worked as a bricklayer during the building works, and also worked on the brick wall separating Lincoln's Inn from Chancery Lane. Lovell incorporated his own family coat of arms above the entrance that you're looking at there, in addition to the arms of Henry VIII and the Earl of Lincoln. Beneath the coats of arms is a dedication stone commemorating a restoration in 1695. We got a little blue plaque as well. John Thurlow, Secretary of State, 1652. Venture of Lincoln's Inn, 1654. Lived in the old square at various times. So it's the old Lincoln's Inn Square, and there are some just above the arch. I don't know if you can see this plan here. There's a small set of rooms thought to have been occupied by Oliver Cromwell when he was a young law student in 1617. And it used to be this area here until 1843. The old gatehouse was the principal entrance to Lincoln's Inn. It was rebuilt in 1966 to 69. And now it's the other side, where I showed you earlier, on Newman's Row at Lincoln's Inn Field, and we're going to end the walk around there. So let's go do that. If you look straight ahead of you, what do you see? You see Fleet Street. And we could just end the walk down at Fleet Street where we started, but you know me, not quite finished yet. So instead we're going to cut through here. We're going to go through Chichester Rents. Now, I don't know the history of that, but that sounds like an interesting name. So let's go through here. Ooh, it is cool. It's much cooler coming through here. I think if I was live streamer, I might lose a signal there. So we have Urban Fitness here. Don't know, in the heat, they better have a lot of air conditioning. Do I sound like I'm a bit hot? Yeah. It is. I don't know what time it is now. My watch is saying 12:24. Okay. So this is Star Yard. Oh, it's all gone quiet. Royal Borough of Camden. We're going to head down this way because why not? I don't know what this is here. Anybody answers on a postcard what that is? Genuinely, haven't got a clue. Oh look, this is the back of Eden Ravenscroft. So anybody that's had a graduation ceremony in the UK has probably worn an Eden Ravenscroft graduation gown. And obviously also very associated with the legal profession. And we're at the back ends now of the Royal Courts of Justice, and that's sort of the crossover point there where that car's coming through Strand and Fleet Street. We're going to go along here. There are some great little bookshops along here, and silverware, I think, something like that. Right, Wildey and Sons, law booksellers and publishers since 1830. And then we got this one here, Ligastat. I'm sure they do photocopying and things like that. And then we got the Silver Mousetrap there, which is sort of silverware. You can get your trophies and things. But we're going through here. Coming out, Wildey and Sons. I've got some of the shutters down at the moment, keep the books protected. Essential tables for financial remedies. And then if you look in here, highway law, essential law for journalists, the substantive law of the EU. Well, I'll put it this way, if I'm doing anything I'm not allowed to around here, there's somebody qualified to tell me about it. And I'm just going to poke you through here. As I said, heart of legal land, heart of the inns, heart of the chanceries as well. They've got a fountain, I don't know if you can see, in the middle of the garden here. I think there's another water pump over here. I don't know if it's active. Ross & Co Solicitors, Payne Hicks Beach. I think they're doing a bit of work here. They were last time I walked through here. There you are, fountain. Kind of want to jump in it like all those kids at Waterloo. Not Waterloo, Royal Festival Hall. And then they've got a lovely kitchen garden here. It's so pretty. Love a kitchen garden. In my aspirational self, I too would have a kitchen garden. That is for the aspirational self. There. Beautiful. Now, if you want to do a postcard view, I think it's lovely. For me, one of the high spots actually of this whole area is that kitchen garden. Last time I was here, it was graduation day. And so all the families and kids were here. What kids, you know, in their 20s. There's new square chambers here. Lovely. Postbox. So we were just peeping through over there just now from the other side at Chancery Lane. And we've come through this side now. And they too have public gardens over here. So let me just give you your bearings because we're going to finish the walk shortly. That's Lincoln's Inn Fields Public Park over there. This is the old Lincoln's Inn Fields Square. And at the far end is the garden that is now available to the public. Just going to pop you through here. So until 1843, as I said, the gatehouse was the principal entrance to Lincoln's Inn. Now the main entrance now is via that spot over there. So that is the new access gateway to Lincoln's Inn Fields, and it is on Newman's Row. There it is, 12:30. High time for food, I think. and probably an iced coffee, I think, today. I think it's going to be an iced coffee today. Oh, there's the thing that I thought might be a water pump sitting there. And we got a little porter's house to the side. Just so you can see here, New Square. And we are going to come through here. Chief porter is Mr. Stefan Cook. He is in there.
Yeah. No, he is very good like that. Yeah, that.
As we find ourselves on Newman Row, looking at another type of water fountain at Lincoln's Inn Fields, and I will end the walk here. I do hope you have enjoyed this walk, our second walk around legal London. Stay cool if you're in the heat on this hot London day, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.